Hey guys, this is Matt the MurfDogg Murphy. I'm here to show you guys how I like to build my ball differentials. This particular differential is being built for my XXX race cars midget, but I'll go through my whole build process with you. I want to show you guys some specific products I'm using. So this right here is my old school Hitachi drill. It's got a clutch on it. It's a cordless screwdriver technically, and I got a 2mm speed tip from MIP. I'll use this for the break-in process, which I'll show you later, so I'll move this up here out of sight for now. Got my trusty 2mm MIP standard wrench right there. I use that for MIP tools for all my builds. I got some diff rings here. I've already sanded them down. They're the standard associated diff rings I've gone and sanded. I might show you guys that process someday. Basically, you start with some 400 grit, work up to 600. I don't get too crazy with it, just try to make sure they're smooth and I don't have high spots. I got my standard associated T-nut and dust cover. I've got old school thrust washers here with balls, separate balls. These are 5/64 balls, and these are 3/32 diff balls, so different thrust balls. These are all silicon nitride XXX Power Lab different thrust balls. I still use these in all my builds. Standard 5x8 diff bearings, internal bearings for the B7 style outdrives. This is a standard associated spring, and then associated B7 diff gear, B7 outdrives. Now these are R1 Works lightened hardened steel B7 ball diff outdrives. The rules for the midget class say no lightweight materials, so must have steel outdrives. So these are my option for best steel outdrive out there. As you guys can see, they're well lightened up. Both sides, I think they're several grams lighter per side. Once you get the whole diff built, significantly lighter, but they're still hardened steel with a titanium nitride coating, so they look real nice. They did a really good job of lightening things up, so they're my choice for this build. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and get my greases opened up. So your pink is what goes on your diff balls, the gold is what goes on your thrust balls. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Oh, one more thing I forgot to show you guys. This is the new Custom Works diff screw. So yes, I do part together differentials instead of just buying like a associated B7 diff kit. I use the parts I want. This is a bitchin' new product. Custom Works just came out with this. It has the same dimensions as a standard associated thrust screw. However, this O-ring here seats right on here. So instead of having to worry about this little dust cover, you have an O-ring to seal the dirt and dust out of your thrust assembly, so your diff should last longer. Super awesome concept and design. Props to the guys at Custom Works for that. It's baffling that it took us 45 years of this style diff and design to make something like that work. So kudos to those guys. I'm gonna be using that in this build here. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and take a dab of my pink, get it on this O-ring just to lube it up so it seals off a little bit better. And I'm just gonna work it around in my fingers, and then I'm going to slide it over the shaft and work it over that shoulder. It's actually a pretty tough O-ring. Struggling a little bit here. It's not as easy as I'd like it to be, but it's not a hassle. It's just a durable O-ring. So now you see that's nicely seated. I'm gonna run this excess that's on my fingers around the edge and make sure that O-ring seated all the way around, so that's good to go. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my thrust washer and I'm gonna slide it onto my diff screw here. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this gold grease. I'm gonna dab it here and get some spread all the way around my thrust washer here. And you can go a healthy little amount on there. You don't want to like glop it all over and make it a mess, but you want enough on there so that you can hold the thrust balls on real easy. But a little bit more. We'll work the excess out when it's time. So there's that guy. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take, first of all, the best way to do this, and trust me, I've lost many diff and thrust ball in my day, is I'm going to take this guy, put a little microfiber towel out, and what I'm going to do is lay it out so I can drop my balls right onto the microfiber towel and not onto the floor. So it's a nice safe way to do it. You don't end up dropping your balls all over the floor. So I'm going to just grab one at a time, set it on, tap it right into that gold grease for the thrust assembly. And there's 2, there's 3. You can make sure you get all 6. Do your best not to lose them, because less balls is less smooth, you know, wearing out your thrust assembly. And just so you guys know, if you guys go through a lot of ball diffs, 9 times out of 10 when your ball diffs get crunchy, it's the thrust balls and the thrust ring assembly that goes bad. You typically, if you use a quality diff ball, the diff balls and the diff rings will outlast the thrust assembly. The thrust assembly takes way more of a load throughout the life of a diff. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of extra grease here. So you see, I run it kind of all the way around, and that'll get compressed down onto the balls once I slide this thrust washer on. And just watch this, work it down. Now I'm going to work this around. You get excess on your fingers, no big deal. Work that excess off. And now we got a nice bit of grease on both sides of the balls contacting the ring there. Now my thrust assembly's well lubricated with the proper grease. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside for now. I'm going to wipe off the excess gold, because this grease is like gold. It's really nice stuff. It's a good anti-wear grease. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off here. My next step is I'm going to, so just for the record, the thrust assembly goes into the female side of the Outdrive. So you have that ready to go set aside. I'm going to take my male side, and first thing, I'm going to take this spring. I'm going to grab a pair of needle nose pliers. I'm going to compress the spring. 1, 2, 3. Rotate 180 degrees. 1, 2, 3. 180 degrees. 1, 2, 3. 180 degrees. 1, 2, 3. And what you want to do that for is you compress the spring so that the spring can easily take a seat when you're tightening your diff up. You don't want the first time you tighten the diff assembly up to be the first time that spring's been compressed. So next step here, I'm going to take my diff T-nut, and I'm going to go ahead and use my X-Acto, cut it nice and pretty. And I'm going to set this aside over here. So next thing, I'm going to go ahead and put my 5x8 bearings on the male Outdrive. And then I'm going to go ahead and take just a tidbit of this gold grease, and I'm going to run it right around here where the diff ring goes. I'm hitting about 4 different spots, and that's just going to hold the diff ring in place so that while you're building, it doesn't slip, and then while you're using it, you don't want the diff ring to slip either. So to hold the diff ring in place, so I'm going to take this guy, drop it on here, I'm going to rotate it, and you'll feel the friction between the grease and the ring. And you want to take any excess you see, go ahead and wipe it off. Alright, so I wiped it off on my microfiber, so that assembly is ready to go. Next, I'm going to take the other side here, and I'm going to grab just a little bit of this gold grease, do the same thing. I make 4 little dabs. Basically, if you're looking at a clock, 3, 6, 9, and 12 o'clock. Or if you want to get technical, you can go like 1, 4, 7, and 10. It's literally the same thing, just rotated. Alright, so spin that on there. And it gets where it gets a lot of friction because it's all well spread out. So I'm going to rub this on my microfiber just to make sure we don't have any extra seeping out. You don't really want to have that gold grease into your diff ball assembly. You want this nice slick, the pink grease, this ball diff grease. And so that's good to go. I'm going to wipe off my wrench tip here, make sure I don't have any of that gold grease that interfere and get in the way. So if you look at your ball diff gear, there'll be one side that has more of a matte finish and one side that's more of a glossy finish. The glossy finish is typically the side the balls are going to go through. during the injection molding process, the side that has more of a matte finish has a little bit of a flashing or a lip on it. That'll hold the diff balls in a little bit better as we put the diff balls in. So I'm gonna move this over here out of the way. So now I'm gonna start grabbing just a little bit of paint grease at a time, and I'm gonna put a little bit of grease inside each hole. And this is just gonna make sure that the balls have ample grease when I throw the diff balls in them for lubricating my ball diff. Over the years, I've used pretty much only 2 different greases religiously, either the Team Associated Stealth Diff Lube or the pink, that with the associated black grease in my diffs, or this one-up assembly with the pink and the gold. Both have treated me very well, haven't had any issues. Guys have always asked, hey, how come you don't sell your own greases? And honestly, I haven't decided to put the time into trial and error and research and trying to figure out what I really need. So there's these great options already available. These guys already put the work in. The Team Associated grease has been around so long, you can't go wrong with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this all the way around. All right, so you see we got nice little pink grease all through there. Now we're ready to put our diff balls into our diff gear. So I like to get all the balls on one side so I don't lose them. Cut that bag open, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna drop this right here. And I got 14 diff balls to drop into my gear here. So I'm gonna start dropping them in. They're gonna stick pretty well to this pink grease. And you wanna, once you get them all inserted, you wanna press them into their individual holes in the gear. It's a little time consuming, but take your time, do it right. Do not lose diff balls. I can't tell you enough how aggravating it can be to be losing diff balls on the floor and stuff. So, alrighty, it's 3 in their holes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get down there, bud. 11, 12, 13, 14. All right. So if you look at the back side, there's a little bit of diff lube sticking through everywhere. That's ample to start building this up together. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this guy directly onto my male side. Slide them onto the bearings. And it all goes together real nice. And then I'm ready to go ahead and add my diff nut. Oh, I lost my little bearings. They slid right off of there. There we go. Got my diff nut, or my diff spring in there. Next, I'm going to put my diff nut, the T-nut. All right, so now my diff assembly is ready. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and put this guy right on top, sits right on the bearing, and then enter my thrust assembly into the chat. Wipe this extra grease off here so I don't attract extra dirt. All right, so the flat on this Custom Works diff screw, there is a flat machined into it, but it's also a 2mm wide flat. So you can use a 2mm wrench like I have here, and you want to tighten that just so you feel it snug up. Let's see how we're doing here. All right. So now it's together. The nut, the screws in the nut. It's got a little bit of play in there still, so we're not yet ready to start breaking her in. And almost there. You feel the tension increasing. All right, so now there's no play in there. Everything's pretty well snugged up, and gosh, that feels so good. So what I'm going to do here next is I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to start sitting my differential, but while I do, I'm also going to break in the diff. So we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only are we going to set the diff, we're going to break the diff in, and we'll be ready to rock. So now I should be done with these greases for now. So I'm going to go ahead and close these up. That way I don't get my fingers in them or make a mess with them. So Wipe my fingers clean, and I'm gonna grab my power tool. So my Hitachi is on the high speed, and I have the clutch set at 5. Doesn't really matter. You're not gonna come into play with it on this. So I'm gonna hold the diff gear. I'm gonna set this right here into the groove, and going back and forth. I'm breaking the diff in a little bit. So from there, went back and forth a couple times. I'm gonna go tighter by a 1/4 turn. Same thing, repeat. And it's just a process as you go. Tighten another 1/4 turn. And you want that diff action to maintain a nice smooth feeling as you go through it. It's feeling real nice and smooth. Tighter another 1/4 turn. Still feels good. Start working the diff around. She feels pretty good. It's freeing up a little bit as we go through and break her in. Another 1/4 turn. Let's get this centered up a little better. There we go. So it's getting to the point now where the diff is pretty well seated, and now we're actually seating the balls and the rings into each other. So you're actually getting closer to the diff actually being tight. So kind of working it around. So at this point we're still breaking everything in, but everything's getting seated to each other, and you're basically making the diff, you get everything seated close to where it's going to be for its final setting. So what you're going for here is you want a nice smooth diff assembly, but you don't want the diff to slip. So how do we check that? Put a wrench through each side of the outdrive and turn the diff gear. I can spin the gear, diff's not tight enough. So we're going to keep on going, keep on continuing this process till we get to where we like it. So same thing, keep on tightening. All right, so go another 1/4 turn. Oop. Another 1/4 turn tight here. Still feels nice and smooth. I'm gonna go a little bit tighter. We're gonna another 1/4 turn. Still feels nice and smooth. Starting to get some tension there though. You can feel it's tightening up. Working that diff together, helping seat it and break it in. And the reason I do it this way, my diff will be broken in when I insert it into the transmission and put it in the car. Diff will be ready to go. And I won't have to worry about, oh man, am I going to smoke that brand new diff first out, because it'll already be broken in and set. So she feels pretty good. I'm thinking she's still going to be a little bit loose and need to be tightened a little bit more, but we're going to check her out. Put my wrenches through, and oh, she's pretty tight. I cannot turn it. So I'm gonna work it just a little bit longer. She feels really good, and she's not slipping. We're gonna work it just a little bit more. Go like 1/8 of a turn tighter. There we go. Ooh, that's money. I think we're right where we need to be. And work it into itself. Break that sucker in. You hear that diff action? A little bit of extra time while you're building your diff to break it in will make your diff last a lot longer on the racetrack. She feels good. Let's see. I'm going to put the wrench back in and check our diff tightness. Oh man, I think we might even be too tight. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to break her loose just a hair. Feels pretty good. I'm going to run it in just a second, and then we'll check tightness one more time. So the trick is I like to have them as loose as I can run them without them slipping. That feels really good in my hands right there. Yeah, I like where that's at. I'm gonna run it up just a little bit more, and then we're gonna check tightness, and we might be right where we're gonna end up. All right. She feels real smooth. I like where she's at. Let's check our tightness here. See if I can slip that diff. Oh, just a hair, and it's ripping the flesh off my fingers. You can see right here. You can see the teeth marks there. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna tighten her just a little bit, and I'm gonna re-break her in just a hair, just to make sure she's seated where I need it. And go a little bit more. Feels really good. We're gonna run her in just a bit. And it's a trial and error thing. You might find you might like your diff a little tighter, some might like a little looser. Associated and many brands do sell diff checkers now. I don't use one. I just kind of go by feel. I'm not saying that I couldn't gain anything by using one. It could be very useful, but I haven't used one in the past yet. So yeah, diff feels good. I like it. Let's check it one more time. See where we're at. Locked and loaded. Twist. No slip. Rip the flesh off my fingers just about. And that right there is how I build my ball diffs. Exactly where I like it. This is a nice lightweight ball diff with hardened steel Outdrive still, so you know you're not going to tear them up, but it's legal for my midget, and we're going to have some fun with this car. I'm looking forward to it. Got a brand new design I'll be debuting in California next month at the West Coast Nats. Should be real good time. So far my midget has raced twice. It's 2 for 2. It's undefeated. It's kind of a neat car. It's hard to drive sometimes, but we get it right. It's real fast. So yeah, this is my ball diff assembly, guys. Thanks for tuning in.